What's up, you guys? Welcome back to From the Ground Up. Today, I am actually going to be breaking down my most recent course launch strategy with y'all. So that way you can kind of have a peek behind the curtain of what it really takes for me to launch these things, to build up demand for a product and put it out into the world and actually make sales. So let's get into it. So many people think truly that you can just add a new product or add a new offer and then launch it, put it out into the world, and that everyone's going to buy it. And I think of those of us with brick and mortar businesses who have decided, well, I'll just create an online course or a program and I'll sell it. And while technically you can do that, you are also unlikely to see a meaningful amount of sales with that tactic, with that strategy. And in fact, I'm sure a good amount of you guys listening have probably done this, created an online product, announced it, and then maybe heard crickets when it came time to sell. That has happened to me too, y'all. You're not alone. But really, the only time that type of a strategy would actually work is when you already have such a strong brand that, when you do drop something new without any buildup to it, your followers flock to it, no questions asked. Think about Justin Bieber's swag album releases. We had no notice for that. He just posts 500 posts on Instagram overnight one night, and we're all losing our minds, okay? Or Taylor Swift's created drops all of these years, right? We don't always get a ton of notice whenever she's doing something new or fun or crazy, and then she announces it and we all die, right? Or I thought of Kanye's Yeezy merch selling out after his 30-second selfie Super Bowl ad. Y'all remember that a few years ago, where the storyline was something like he didn't want to pay all that money for an ad, so he just literally filmed himself. I want to say it was in the back of a car, talking to his phone, in a selfie video, and was just y'all go check out my website, Yeezy.com or whatever it was. And then it was done and everything, it just literally sold out after that debuted at the Super Bowl. And it's like that. They announce it once with no notice, no build up to it whatsoever, and it sells out, right? And honestly, I will say we should all be learning from them the importance of building a rock solid brand so we can do that too. But my guess is if you're anything like me, you don't have the brand status yet of these mega celebrities to just announce a new product or offer and watch it sell out, the very next minute. Okay. So today I want to walk you through my most recent launch process of my No Kegels course, which, by the way, was my biggest launch to date. I want to explain what worked and kind of what I have learned after years of running online launches to get me here, to get me to this biggest launch ever. So hopefully you can learn some of this stuff too and apply it to your own online products as you start to create them, or if you already have them and you just aren't seeing the sales that you've wanted to see. Okay. So first and foremost, most people vastly underestimate both the time and volume of content it takes to market and sell an offer successfully. Okay. I'm just going to throw it out there. I learned how to launch courses from Shantae Cofield, who is the Movement Maestro, and Jill Coleman, who is Jill Fit. And they always teach us the longer the runway, the better and bigger the launch. Okay, so what does that mean? People are surprised when I tell them my course launch process is 3 months long, not 3 weeks, 3 months. That is my runway to launch. If you imagine an airplane taking off, the longer the runway, the bigger and the better they can launch into the sky. Same thing with your online products, okay? Or whatever your product is. For example, you might have seen a few of my posts. You might have heard me mention the course launch on some recent podcast episodes. You might have seen me talk about it in a few emails that you happen to open and read from me. And you probably knew generally that my course launch was coming up, right? And some of you were like, no, I had no idea. And that just makes me want to stab a dagger in my heart. But what you probably don't know is that from January through March of this year, 2026, I actually posted a minimum of 2 to 3 times a day on Instagram. I mentioned the course on every single podcast episode in that 3-month time span. And I sent a total of 59 emails having to do with my course launch in that time span. And the crazy thing is like, I probably could have doubled or tripled that, honestly. Honestly, that's crazy, right? But I probably should have is what I should say. I don't know if I could have this time, but I pretty much did. I worked to my capacity. So this was actually the most content I ever put out during a course launch across all platforms, right? I have social media, I have podcasts, I have email. This was the most total I've ever put out during a course launch. And guess what? It was my biggest launch ever. It was my launch with the most sales and the most revenue to date ever. And so I want you to hear me when I say you cannot expect to create an offer and then tell people about it a few times and make sales. Okay. People barely know you exist, and they definitely don't know your product exists. And they definitely won't buy your product after they see one post or read one email about it. Y'all, I have run this course for 4 years now, and I talk about it in 85 to 90% of my content across all platforms in general at any given time. And people still don't know I exist or that my course exists. Do you get my point yet? Do you get how most people vastly underestimate the time and volume of content it takes to market and sell an offer successfully? And maybe this is why your stuff isn't selling, okay? I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you up. I'm sharing my experience with you, okay? So let's walk through what is my 3-month launch process, okay? It's pretty simple. Month 1, all I'm doing is promoting people to sign up for the waitlist. Month 2, I'm still promoting waitlist signups, and then I launch to the waitlist. So that's 2 straight months of waitlist promo and then a waitlist launch, okay? Month 3 then becomes I promote a lead magnet, I run the lead magnet, I launch to the lead magnet, and then I launch to the public. Okay, so month 3 is a little busier feeling. So let's break them down a little bit. Waitlist promo time. These are those first 2 months of the launch runway. Every single piece of content I put out during waitlist promo has a call to action to join my waitlist and why. So I'm speaking to my ideal client that I know will love my course. I am asking them, inviting them, telling them whatever to click this link or to comment this thing and go give me their email and join this waitlist. So they will, and then you fill in the blank, right? So they will get first access, get the biggest discounts. Here's this transformation that you'll have after going through my course. Here's all your pains and problems that you're currently dealing with, the mistakes you're currently making, and how my thing will fix it. Okay. So every single piece of content, Instagram, email, podcast, whatever it is that is during those 2 months of waitlist promo launch time, it is about getting people on the waitlist. That's it. That's it. You have to stay focused. That is literally it. This thing needs to become your entire personality, okay? I was only concerned with speaking to my ideal client and getting them on my waitlist. That's it. I also have like waitlist nurture emails that go out during those 2 months to people who are on the waitlist. And the point of those is to keep the waitlist folks engaged and excited and ready for doors to open. Getting nitty-gritty into emails is beyond the scope of this particular podcast, but I just want you to know it's not only Instagram promos. You also have to build out and delight and engage and nurture the people who are on your list. Otherwise, they're going to sit on your list for 2 months and get cold and forget that they signed up for the thing and miss the whole launch. Okay. And then at the end of these 2 months, right, the 2 months of waitlist promo and launch, the waitlist doors finally open in that last week. Okay. They open for a week, and these people get 9 total emails that week, only the people who are on my waitlist. And again, I'm not going to break down my email sequences for time's sake on this show. Maybe I can make some content or a free download or something around what is my launch email sequence, because I got one. You know I do. So that's the waitlist promo, months 1 and 2. And truthfully, you can extend that, or technically you can shorten it. But again, the longer the launch runway, the bigger and better the launch. And it's hands down, year over year that I've launched this course, the waitlist gets me the most sales. Okay, so do not underestimate the power of having a wait list, and do not be afraid to make them sit on that list for 2 months, y'all. Like, as long as you're nurturing them while they're on their list and keeping them engaged and excited and aware of what to expect, they are going to be ready to buy. And the longer you make them wait, the more they're just going to be chomping at the bit to buy the thing. Okay. So do not underestimate having a wait list and making it drawn out. I'm just telling you, it works. I get the most sales from my wait list people. Okay. So if you were a wait list person, I love you. You're the best. You're the best. All right. So that's months 1 and 2. Okay. Then we move into month 3, which, like I said, has lead magnet and public sales. So let's break down the lead magnet promo. All right. Once waitlist doors are closed, okay, so they've been sold to, it's closed, their discounts are over, you no longer can buy it at that rate. Now my entire personality shifts and I am immediately shifted gears to be promoting my lead magnet. This is all I am about. In this case, my lead magnet was I held a live workshop where I taught clinicians how to identify the root cause of pelvic floor dysfunction. Okay, I taught them my framework of what that looks like. And this part of the launch is a 2-week period where, again, every single piece of content I put out into the world, okay, social media, email, podcast, every piece of content that you hear me talking about or talking on has a call to action to drive people to sign up for my workshop. This is all I care about, is getting people to sign up for my workshop. So I promote that. I run the workshop. Teach my booty off. Okay. This is not just a bait and switch. I'm actually teaching high quality stuff in these workshops. That's very, very important, you guys. By the way, side note, I have a whole other podcast episode. If you go back a couple months, I think, where it's how to run a successful workshop. And I actually break down my framework for this of what I do in these lead magnets in my workshops, whether it's online or live. It'll be really helpful. So scroll back up and listen to that because that's the framework I follow. So I ran the workshop, taught my booty off, and then in the workshop, I invite these people to join me in the course. Now, pause for a second. Again, I'm not breaking down my emails, but just so y'all know, the people who signed up for my workshop, they had seen multiple emails leading up to this live workshop that my intention is to give them so much value in the workshop that they will want to continue on in my course with me. Okay. The course pitch, quote unquote, in the lead magnet should not be a surprise. They should expect that you are going to be talking about your paid offer. Do not feel bad about selling in your free workshop or your free lead magnet, okay? If what you are selling is as good as you think it is, you want people in it so you can help more people. In my case, I want more clinicians in it so we can freaking stop thinking about Kegels and change the game of pelvic health, y'all. Don't get me on this. Don't get me fired up. I will. I'll do it. Back to the lead magnet. Okay. So at the end of it, after I've taught my booty off, I invite them to join me in the course. Following that, this group had 5 days to join the course with their discount code, and they received 7 emails. Okay. Once those doors are closed, their discounts expired. They can't use it anymore. Now we are in the home stretch. We are in the public promo version or portion, I should say, of the launch process. And this is a week. This is simply the final week before the course actually starts. And it's the last call for anyone and everyone else to join me. Okay. And you're going to notice a theme. 100% of my content this week, social media, emails, podcasts, whatever it was directed with the goal, with the call to action to buy my course. Sign up for my course. Doors are closing. It ends Sunday, whatever it is. Like, this is literally your last chance. So that's my whole personality that week. To be honest, I will tell y'all, I let off the gas a little bit during this public promotion week this time because I had already surpassed my launch goals with just the waitlist and lead magnet sales, which hasn't ever happened, actually. This was the first time that I hit my goals prior to going into public launch, which is really, really cool because Shantae and Jill will say, like, this week, this public launch week should just feel like an icing on the cake, but it can also serve, if you haven't hit your goal, as like a chance to kind of go hard in the paint and push it across the finish line or into the end zone, if you will. But for me, I actually had hit my goal. And so I was able to let off the gas a little bit, but this still ended up being the week where I watched my numbers of course sales pass 100. And that was just really surreal and like fun to just, as those final days rolled through and I, would check the analytics and the stats and things like that and see it 97, 98, 99 and then, the next day I wake up and it's 102 and it was just really surreal and exciting knowing that the momentum that I had built for those 3 months had paid off and was paying off. And it's just really, really cool. So a lot of my content in that public week had already been pre-scheduled out. So I did let off the gas, but it was really on any extra content or extra ways to show up that week. Again, because I'd already hit my goal. And y'all, I was tired. And I can push through tired. Like one thing about me is I'm all work. Okay. I am all work when I'm tired and I'm going to win. Those are the two things about me is I'm all work and I'm going to win. But the fact that I already won allowed me to just kind of enjoy it and just watch the rest of them kind of roll through using the momentum, right? Using the momentum and using the stuff I'd already pre-scheduled out. So that was really exciting and really, really fun to kind of watch the launch in that way. So let's talk a little bit about what worked and what I have learned about launching over all these years. What made this particular launch the biggest one yet was 3 main things. Number 1, it was the sheer amount of content that I committed to putting out. I think in the previous launches, I had done about 1 social media post a day on average to promote my course launch. And this time, like I said, it was 2 to 3. Most days it was 3. Weekends, I usually did 2. So weekdays, I usually did 3. Okay. So the sheer amount of content I committed and followed through to putting out was one of the 3 big things that made this launch the biggest yet. The second thing is the organization of the launch. Y'all, for the first time ever, I actually planned ahead. Okay. I scheduled about 80% of my content out, which means 20% of it just I kind of had room to kind of be playful and add some post in the moment because I think I do my best whenever I'm kind of in the moment and I can just kind of go make a reel or, go post a story or something really quick, something that's on my mind. But having 80% of it done really helped me with my capacity and my ability to just be a little bit more creative and playful with that 20%. So I planned ahead. I scheduled 80% of my content out and I had a whole process lined up for the launch in ClickUp. ClickUp is like our task management software or whatever. I had a whole process lined up in ClickUp thanks to my amazing VA, Megan, if you're listening, shout out for building that entire process out. And it was so helpful. And we've never done this before because I'm a very just like, do it as I go, figure it out as I go. Like I struggle with looking ahead and like building a process from the future backwards. It's not one of my best skill sets. Okay. So I did that though this time. I was like, we're going to do this. I, mapped out what needed to be done. She built it all out in ClickUp. So we actually had tasks that we could follow and check off with due dates and everything like that there was dozens, there may be 100, throughout the launch of predetermined steps and due dates and who owned what. Was it her? Was it me? Who was doing what? So we could hold ourselves accountable to doing it. And so that was a huge part of making this launch successful was just mapping it out ahead of time. Okay. And then the third thing was the fact that for the first time in my whole life, I ran paid ads this time. And interestingly, even if I hadn't run paid ads, this still would have been my biggest launch ever. But I will say it was the sales from the paid ads that definitely put me over that 100 sales threshold, which is just so cool and makes me so glad that I did it. But I'll say paid ads is another can of worms that I'm not going to get into today, but just know, y'all, paid ads is not one of those things. Just like launching an online product, you can't just make it and then do it, right? But it's like paid ads, you can't just do a paid ad with no strategy. I guess, again, you can. It's probably not going to work like you want it to work. But what I did was I actually bought and consumed an entire Meta Ads course early on this year before I ran the ads so that I would do it right. It became my entire personality learning how to make and run and analyze Meta Ads, y'all. And it freaking paid off. My ROAS, which stands for return on ad spend, was literally off the charts. I forget the exact number. I think it was like 12 something, which if you guys have no idea what that means, it is massively successful. Like they say a ROAS of like 2 to 4 means that you're awesome. But it's basically telling you your return on ad spend. Okay. So it was 12 point something. And that is a huge indication that this course is speaking to people. My messaging in the ads and in my posts and on my social media and across all platforms is speaking to people. And that this course could definitely be in scaling territory. Okay. It means I could have spent way more on paid ads, and I didn't this time. I mean, I spent a lot. I spent over $1,000 on paid ads, but again, my ROAS was 12 point something, which means from the sales of paid ads, it brought in 12,000 something, right? And so it's just if you spend more, you're going to get more sales, and anyway, so hindsight's 2020, right? I'm like, dang it, I could have spent more. But at the time I thought $1,500 on paid ads was a lot. I was already scared to do that. But it paid off. So those were the three main things that worked this time. Was one, just the sheer amount of organic content I committed to put out across all platforms. Two, the organization of the launch. So looking ahead and building it out backwards. So that way we all knew what was happening and when and who was accountable for what. And then running paid ads. So I will say, caveat, this was my first time running paid ads. You don't want to do that until your messaging is proven. Okay. I knew my messaging was proven because I have launched this course multiple times before with really good conversion rates and really good numbers and margins. So until that happens, you probably don't want to run paid ads. I mean, again, you can, but I wouldn't want to put my money behind something that I didn't know was already working organically, is my only thought. So just keep that in mind. But to bring it all back to kind of the big idea, so many people think that you can just create or add a new product or offer, start talking about it, and that everyone's going to buy it. And I wish that was the case. It would be a lot easier. It would be so much easier. I wouldn't have spent the last 3 months of my life doing, 75% of my workload focused on this course launch. Okay. But so many people think that, and they vastly underestimate just that sheer volume of content and the amount of time you must spend on these launches for them to truly be a success. This launch, it drains me every single time. I mean, you can ask Corey, my business partner of Genesis. Like, she knows I'm in a launch, and she just knows that I'm gonna have a little less capacity, and I'm gonna be a little crazy, and I'm gonna be a little tired, and that's like all I'm thinking about. But also, every single time I do this, I am so proud of the results. And it comes back to the work that I've put into it every single time. Okay. And I will say, this course, it is a main source of cash flow for my family. So it frankly has to succeed every time. Because it's an online product, it has a really, really high profit margin. So it's nice whenever I have a big launch with really good sales and really good revenue, because then I get that money. There's very little expenses associated with it. I put some aside for taxes, and then the rest kind of goes into our family account, where it's like, okay, this is going to get us through the next X amount of months, and we kind of ration it or budget it, whatever. And so it is a main source of cash flow for my family and our income. Especially because at Genesis, we're in the early years, right? We're 6 years old. A lot of our cash flow there and margin there goes back into reinvesting into the company and into our growth. And that's a big reason why we've been able to grow so fast. But it's also a big reason why I have this business, and this course is for cash flow for my family. So it has to succeed. That is a big thing that has fueled me for learning how to do this successfully, is I'm like, I need this to work. So I'm going to pay people to teach me how to do this right and make this work. Okay. So it's interesting, because if you were following any of my launch content, I did talk a lot about the fact that I have actually decided that this is going to be my last launch of this course. And after everything I just said, it's my biggest, my best launch ever, my most successful. I learned paid ads. I need this money for my family. Like, y'all are like, Becky, are you crazy? Like, don't stop now that it's working. And maybe I am. Maybe I'm having shiny object syndrome, but I don't think I am. I want to let you in a little secret. I am building something new now. And I'm not going to get into the details of it, but I have been dreaming about it for a while. And I know that to have the capacity to build this vision that I've just been dreaming up and like being so excited for in the future, to have capacity to build it and to do it well, I needed something big off my plate. And that's why it's the course, because the course is big. But this thing that I'm building is going to fill the void that taking this course away creates. So it's going to be bigger, better. I'm just so excited. So welcome to the very beginning of that launch runway, you guys. Your call to action, the thing that is going to become my entire personality from here on out. And your call to action today is to make sure you are on my email list, because I will be announcing what this new thing is there first. So click the link in my bio, got my email list there. You can also always DM me or email me and ask me if you're on it and I can check. But if you get my emails, you're on it. But yeah, make sure you're on that. And you guys, share this episode with a friend. If you have colleagues who have online products or are thinking of launching things, share this with them just to kind of keep it real and help them out too. And share it to your stories if you found it helpful. I always love seeing that you guys are enjoying the episodes. Y'all do such a great job of letting me know in the DMs. I love hearing from you guys. It never gets old. So you're not bothering me. I love to hear it, you guys. And if you do choose to share it, tag me. But that's truly how we change the game, right? Is we share what's helpful to us and what's kind of challenging the status quo and pushing this field forward with others who are in this field, right? That's the definition of being better together. So have a great day, you guys, and let's change the game.